Hi again, Bev here, and this is part 3 of my Def Leppard collection. CDs continued, and we're almost at the end of the CDs. I think next I'll probably go on to the 7-inch vinyl and then on to the 12-inch and LPs and other odds and ends that I have. So let's continue. Now just let me double check. So that pretty much covers the singles, etc. So onto the albums now, and this is One Through the Night, first Def Leppard album, and this was my original copy. I remember my mum brought this in from the shops one day when they'd been out messages, and there was a shop at Cameron Toll called Our Price at the time, and she went to Our Price and came back with this for me, and I was delighted. And when I heard it from day one, I thought it was great. So different to Hysteria and Pyromania, obviously, but it's just great stuff. Proper raw new wave of British heavy metal, I guess, in a way. So yeah, On Through the Night. This CD dates 1986. The album came out in 1980, obviously, but it wasn't issued on CD till 1986. So it's just the standard UK. So that was my original copy, and I have a second copy, exactly the same, UK pressing. This one is in the original shrink. It's not been opened at all. So then High and Dry. This one, again, similar idea. I can't remember which record shop this one came out of at the time, but I got all the albums on CD. And this one is 1981. Well, High and Dry was initially 1981, and again the CD didn't come out till about 1986 probably as well. But the CD version includes the remixed Bringing on the Heartbreak and Me and My Wine from 1984. These two are on the end of the album. So there we have that. And again, it's just a standard CD. Same as On Through the Night, this is a second copy of High and Dry on CD. Again, exactly the same track listing, UK issue, and it's in the original shrink, never been opened. Then the first copy of Pyromania I got on CD happened to be this original master recording on the 24-carat gold plated disc. I think this came from HMV. I'm sure I saw it in here, and because it was this special edition, so I'm having that. These, I believe, are quite rare to get a hold of now, and are quite expensive too. And it's just the original album, right enough, and it's on the Ultra Disc Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, and the disc. Oops, one second. It's in one of these flip-up cases, so the discs kind of fall out quite easy, but so yeah, it's just put that there. It's on the kind of gold colour, and on the back, gold as well. I can't remember what the booklet. It has all the lyrics in here. It folds out to open like that, so it has all the lyrics and just no images or anything. Just that's basically it. Sun's come out, so I'm just going to tilt the blind. It's just a bit too bright there. So yeah, that's Pyromania. And later on, I think probably in the same shop, I saw Hysteria on the same format. This wasn't my first Hysteria copy, actually. My original Hysteria copy on CD is this one. But again, it's the mobile fidelity. It's exactly the same as the Pyromania. And the sort of the 24 karat gold, coloured, etched, plated, whatever. The back of the booklet looks like that, doesn't have the faces. You've got the usual inner stuff for Hysteria though. The same write-up that's on the normal ones. That's the image from Mannheim in Germany, and the band images there. So, and track listing. So yeah, so oops. So I'm very chuffed to have both of these on that original master recording format. So when I got Hysteria on CD, I already had the record, the LP at this point, and picked up the CD in Woolworths on holiday one year. When we were on holiday in Southport, I think it was. Went into Woolworths there. I think it was Southport. If not, it was Llandudno or Llandudno in Wales. I also remember in this particular Woolworths, they had the posters, and they had a big poster of Def Leppard, and again it was from the Donington Monsters of Rock, but it was like a backstage picture of the band, and I had to get that as well. I pleaded with my dad to buy me it, and he did, and it ended up on the bedroom wall. So this is my original pressing, 1987 Hysteria CD, the Holy Grail, not that reissued thing that you get, and it says disc part 1 of 3 or whatever it says on it, even though you're just buying the single disc. This is the original, made in West Germany, and it's got a few fingerprints on it from much use. You'll know the booklet is exactly the same. You'll have seen that before. So that's the 4 albums on CD there, obviously. Moving on, I have this Rock of Ages CD sampler. Now this is Rock of Ages in reference to the, really dropped that as well, the BBC documentary that they were recording in 1989, which was scheduled for airplay in 1990. This was a promotional sampler, and it was just basically featuring a song from each of their albums. Hello America, I'm Bringing on the Heartbreak, Rock of Ages, and Pour Some Sugar on Me. And it's DL 1989. Strangely enough, my CD, the actual CD's gone a funny colour. It's almost as if it's kind of corroding, because this is just meant to be the normal silvery colour. Everything's jumping out my hands here, I don't know why, but it kind of looks a bit strange, but you know, the other side's normal, just that side looks a bit odd. It's as if it's kind of copper, but yeah, so there you go, promotional only, not for resale, it says there. And there is a sticker there telling you January the 3rd, 1990, it says in here. Not sure that can be made out. It's January the 3rd, 1990, 11:20, that's the time, in the evening, BBC 2, DL 1989. And the inner sleeve thing had that to say, just a wee brief bit of stuff, and then you have details of each of the albums and the release dates and the track listings. And this is a prime example, basically, of Def Leppard. This is Def Leppard as I know them. That is it. For anything after that is a different band, because they are so different to what this band of the 80s was. They've completely changed the direction, strayed way too far off the original roots, you know. So that's kind of anything other than what this is not really for me. You've got a few stats here on this side as well. Hang on a second. At this moment in time when this was issued, Hysteria had gone 9 times platinum in the US, 10 times platinum in Canada, 3 times platinum in Australia, 5 times platinum in New Zealand, and it had sold over 730,000 copies in the UK at that point, which I think was enough to make it go platinum. It doesn't actually say that, but due to the size of the country, you go platinum for selling less in the UK than what you would in America and Canada, etc. But yeah, so some interesting facts there, and you've got the 2 videos and this limited edition collector set of the first 4 albums was being released in 1990. Now this was only released as a European box, I believe, in 90, and then in 1991 Japan had an issue released as well. So that's really a cool thing to have. I love that, actually. I'm glad I've got it. I hardly ever see that anywhere. Next album, Adrenalize. Of course I had to get this. I got this on the day of release, primarily because I knew it was going to be featuring Steve's latest work, and at the time we weren't sure if he did feature on this album or not, but I was having it anyway because it was, you know, dedicated to Steve, etc. So that's Adrenalize. In fact, for me, I'm not a huge fan of this album, but the songs I like the most on it are Tonight and Stand Up, Kick Love Into Motion, which, you know, Steve was involved in the writing of these 2 as well as a few others, but these 2 are probably my favourites. And then Retroactive came in 93. Now I had to get this as well because it was featuring more Steve Clark stuff. Primarily the first 2 tracks, Desert Song and Fractured Love. They're great songs, a bit heavier than the rest. Some good guitars on there, featuring Steve. And obviously Steve features on a few of the others, not everything, but this was kind of essential to have. Then my friends in America, I've got a couple of friends who come over now and again, and one year when they came over they brought me this, because this was, I think this is a United States release only. I'm not sure if this was any other countries, but I know this wasn't a UK release. This is definitely a US release, and it's got the FBI anti-piracy thing, and it's got the American copyright wording, if you like, compared to the British. So this is, it was actually $17.99 at the time. My friend, she didn't mind leaving the price tag on it. So and it's good to have because it has a whole load of you know, stuff from the Clark era, of course, you know, stuff from, I'm thinking it does have Heartbreak and Switch 625, I beg your pardon. I'm just, Rock Brigade's on here from the first album, and so is Wasted. So yeah, and it's got a couple of more recent things. I mean, I don't know how you can put slang on here as part of a definitive collection, but you know. But it's good to have, and It's a double disc set. There is disc 1 and disc 2 is about to fall out. Let me just sort that. There we go. And it's still falling out. I'm not sure if the thing's broke, but anyway. Disc 2, disc 1. The booklet's quite a thickish booklet. It's not glossy lined, it's just a matte finish, but you've got a bit of write-up about band's history, and each member of the band talks about various songs and stuff, what they remember about certain songs from the time. Yeah. And then we're on disc 2 here. You can see I'm still waiting on a picture of Steve coming up here. Yeah, they did manage to put one in at the back just as well. So there he is. So yep, that's good to have. And then I have another copy of Hysteria. This is a Japanese issue. This is a 1989 pressing. Complete with OBI or OBI. I tend to refer to them as OBIs for some reason. So yeah, and it's in like a digipack style. That's the inner of the OBIs, talking about Bon Jovi's New Jersey, I think, there as well. So yeah, you've got the inner booklet, the usual, and then you've got the lyrics in English as well, and also in Japanese. Oops, and it's the track listing. Also in the Japanese version you have the bonus track, which was Love and Affection Live, which was recorded in, I think it's the Tilburg 1987 version. So that made 13 tracks. Pretty cool disc as well. And you got a bonus booklet in it as well, which is 1989 Summer in Holland. So this was when they were obviously back over in Holland, doing some initial works on laying down tracks for Adrenalize, I guess. And some really cool photographs in here. There's the man himself, you know, some great pictures of the band. So that's pretty cool to have that as well. For me, it's a case of anything that has anything to do with Steve in it that I don't have already, you know, or something different, a different issue as in this, with rare pictures of Steve or something. I'm after it, I want it, because Def Leppard from this era and what Steve means to me, he means a lot, so he's pretty important to me. And I guess it's the whole, you know, I grew up with this kind of stuff, these guys. That sort of thing stays with you, you know. I'm sure everybody's got their own memories from whatever era, and certain bands probably sticks out for most people, or certain guitar hero or whoever. So yeah, so that's that cool piece, the Japanese 1989 pressing. I'm just trying to sneak, I'll do that later because it's proving to be awkward. I also have the Japanese issue of Pyromania, again 1989 pressing, and these were issued around the same time, I believe. And it's just got a slightly different sleeve. To the sideways, this one. Again, this has the OBI strip, which is actually, interestingly, this one has Vertigo at the top. The other one, the Hysteria one, has the Bludgeon Raffola. And again, it's a digipack. Opens like that. And that's the track listing. No bonus tracks on this Japanese issue. It finishes with Billy's Got a Gun. You've got the lyrics in English and in Japanese, and details there. Again, the CD itself is kind of similar to Hysteria, and the bonus booklet in this one is a Japan Tour 88. So you've got a little souvenir booklet from when they had just come off when they were doing the Hysteria tour in Japan. And again, you've got some cool photographs of the band just smashing stuff. You know, just rare things that, you know, we didn't get in the UK or US, just these kind of always good to have. So and there we are. And that was the set list for the Japanese tour down here, actually. You got Let It Go in here. For their encore, they had Photograph, Tear It Down, and the Travelling Band melody, or medley rather. So yeah, but most of the set list was pretty standard. So again, I'm chuffed to have that. It's almost like these two go together, so I'm pretty chuffed to have that, I have to say. So I shall put that away later as well. And I had briefly mentioned this, the box set that was issued in Europe in 1990 and in Japan in 91. This is the Japanese issue, and it doesn't have the OBI strip, unfortunately. I was trying to get one with it, but yeah, I was looking at £200, and just to have it with that one, I thought, no, just I've got the main thing is this. It would have been cool to have the OB strip, but yeah, I got the Japanese yen, 8,000 yen. That must have been the price at the time. Basically, it is the first 4 Def Leppard albums, and you get a collector's 76-page booklet. It's 76 pages in here because it combines the inlay notes from all 4 albums in the one book. I'm not going to open the albums, but they are all the same. It just says Made in Japan, Tokyo, etc. down here. Nippon Phonogram. But the inner booklet is just a plain inside. It's just got the covers of the album and it's blank inside because all the details are in this booklet here. High and Dry does have the remixed versions from 84 as well. Pyromania, and they all say Made in Japan on the back. Nippon Phonogram, Pyromania. And here we are with Hysteria, of course. Just want to double check what the CD looks like. Bear with me. If it's, I'm just trying to recall if it's any different. No, and the disc as well, it's exactly the same as the my original 87. The only difference here is this one says manufactured by Nippon Phonogram, Tokyo, made in Japan, whereas my other one's got West Germany. And this one does not have Love and Affection live. This is the standard 12-track version. So the booklet, pretty cool. It has each of the 4 album sleeves. And this side's like a reflection. Kind of reads it backward a little bit, I think. yeah. So, very quickly, so you have another cool band picture and a bit of detail. What you've got in here as well is the entire back catalogue, discography, EPs, 7-inch, 12-inch, you know, etc, etc. Audio cassettes, CDs, miscellaneous stuff. And then you have Japanese information about the band, about 4 albums, and then you've got On Through the Night picture, which is kind of tricky to see there actually, but you can make it out. It's black and white. So you got the lyrics to every single song in both English and Japanese for every album. You get High and Dry, Pyromania's there, and you know, Hysteria, and again you get the usual Hysteria notes, the pictures, and there's a brief timeline kind of history there, 1978 to 88. So that is a beauty to have, and it's in really good condition. So that is the 4, the big box of 4. I'll just keep all that there. Lastly, yeah, the last 2 CDs, Pyromania Deluxe Edition. This is the double CD set, and you have the album and the audio of the Live at the LA Forum concert, which is on the live disc on that boxed set that I've just got there in the background, and the deluxe edition of Hysteria as well, which is a double disc set. You've got the album, remastered album, then you've got some B-sides. Disc 2, you've got the live B-sides, and the Call It Hysteria remixes, which was all the extended versions that were on the 12-inch singles from the Hysteria singles. And last but not least is Release Me Again by Slumpus Maximus and the Good Old Boys. So yeah, that is my CD collection. That concludes my CD collection at the moment. I think there is 1 or 2 I've still to lay my hands on, singles and odd things, but it's proven either too expensive or too rare to get a hold of them, but we'll persevere. So that's that part. The next video, which will be part 4, will feature some vinyl, and I'll be starting off with the 7-inch sizes. So I'll see you soon. Bye for now.